Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're going to see a few interesting matches of Living End that I played across the past few weeks when I was picking up the deck and learning it and working a little bit on it. First, we're going to talk about a few specifics of my deck list. The basic strategy of Living End is to cast, well, the namesake, Living End. It should be known to all modern players by now, but to summarize it quickly, we are using Charless Agent and Violent Outburst, which have the Cascade ability to cascade into a card that costs less. The only card that costs less in this deck is indeed Living End. Each player exiles all creatures from their graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards they exiled this way onto the battlefield. So essentially, you are flipping the boards with the graveyard. The way we are gaining creatures is by returning them from the graveyard after we cycle them or discard them by other means. With Modern Horizons 1 and 2, Living End got an insane amount of upgrades, Force of Negation, letting you fight on the stack effectively for no mana, Grief being a 0 mana discard spell that synergizes greatly with Living End returning from your graveyard to discard your opponent's cards yet again, and many others like Force of Vigor and Endurance and Subtlety. As far as my specific list goes, we're playing 4 Living End. It is somewhat stuck to play 3, which I think is mostly holdover from the past times when there was no use in drawing Living End whatsoever, and cycling a lot, drawing them was just not a thing you wanted to be doing. Nowadays, Living End is not entirely a dead draw. The deck runs Grief, which you can exile your Living End from your hand as an alternative cost to evoke, which means that drawing black cards is not only not that bad, but sometimes even actively desirable. On top of that, the benefits of playing the 4th Living End are that it is easier to play against counter magic, against graveyard hate. In some games you just want to Living End 2 or 3 times, so you want to be able to afford to cycle into or draw 1 or 2 Living Ends without actually diminishing what your deck can do over a longer game. From Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, there's a few cards that improve this deck further from the position it was in before. Otawara Soaring City is a pretty big one, giving Living End a way to answer the biggest threat to its existence. Well, one of the big threats to its existence, Teferi Time Raveler, from the battlefield in a way that is both uncounterable and also easy to include in your deck, as it can be just played as a land. Also Sky Turtle, nice way to interact with some creatures like Lavinia or just some Murktide regents clocking you, while also letting you put a humongous creature into your graveyard at the same time. Most of the main deck is relatively stuck. Besides that, Present Borrower for some extra post-board interaction against hate when you don't exactly know what you are expecting to play against. If you don't know if your opponent is going to board in graveyard hate like Relic of Progenitus or Rest in Peace or Lane of the Void, could be kind of tough to assess in the dark. Having access to 2 Otawara, 1 Brazen Borrower means that you're going to have at least a few ways to deal with unexpected problematic permanents. As far as the sideboard goes, we're playing some Subtlety, Mystical Dispute, mostly tools against, again, Teferi Time Raveler, who stops the Cascade mechanic entirely. Subtlety has a few different uses that are very strong, so it comes up actually quite often. Against most green decks, you will want Subtlety as a way to answer Endurance, which is one of the greatest hate cards against you in general. We're playing our own Endurances to help us win the mirror match. Some people are fond of sideboarding Endurance as a threat mid-game play against decks like Murktide Regent. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that, as the namesake of their deck, Murktide Regent, is too big for Endurance to contain, and it's a little bit hard to sideboard tons of cards in a deck like this that requires a lot of the pieces to actually function properly. You frequently board out some cyclers because, well, there's not much else to sideboard out in this deck to begin with, so you frequently are going to cut some of the cyclers, but you're not going to be looking towards cutting them in spades. You are trying to preserve as many as you can. A few ways to destroy artifacts, enchantments, frequent ways in which graveyard hate comes. I am playing specifically 2 Ingot Chewers. The reason that I enjoy them over playing more Foundation Breakers, which might appear more flexible, is that, well, while Foundation Breaker indeed is more flexible, Ingot Chewer is a more pinpointed way to answer specific problematic cards like Relic of Progenitus or Chalice of the Void. Once again, Blue-Red Murktide is a deck that almost universally, because of the lack of other options available in blue-red colors, will choose to go with Relic of Progenitus, maybe Soul Guide Lantern against Living End as their graveyard hate card. Ingot Chewer will be able to take care of that efficiently, costs just 1 mana instead of 2, and also gives you a stronger creature when it returns back from the Living End. One anti-synergy worth keeping in mind is the fact that while Foundation Breaker is a May ability, you do not need to destroy anything. Ingot Chewer is not, so if it comes back from your graveyard alongside Architects of Will, you will be forced to destroy your Architects of Will if there's no other targets in play, which sometimes is a bit problematic. Fairy Macabre as some extra graveyard hate. I actually don't really recommend Fairy Macabre that much. I don't think so. It was a thing I was experimenting with for the mirror matches, but I think it's mostly trumped by Endurance, by just running more Endurances, and then a single copy of Leyline of Sanctity and Leyline of the Void. Many people are repulsed by the idea of playing singleton Leylines. Personally, I'm a fan of that. The simple thinking is, well, Leyline of Sanctity, Leyline of the Void, you want them to have in your opening hand, right? Because of their text. And that is true. And then the natural conclusion might be, well, then why don't play 4 Leyline of the Void, 4 Leyline of Sanctity? Well, the easy answer is slots. Like every single Leyline is going to cost you an extra sideboard slot, like just like any other card would, right? Therefore, if I only have space for a certain amount of those effects, if I only want to dedicate space to a certain amount of those effects, then I will only dedicate space towards the first one. Another point is that it's just that Leyline of Sanctity #1 in your deck is going to be the most powerful one. Opening with 2 for the most part doesn't provide anything more than opening with just 1, right? You're just gonna still have the effect of the Leyline of Sanctity / Void in play, while you are going to have some unnecessary cardboard in your hand or in your deck. So given those two factors, I am happy playing just 1 copy of each Leyline, and I don't think it's intrinsically bad to do so. Especially in a deck with a high amount of cyclers, blind cycling, just discarding to draw, you're going to see a higher amount of cards per game than an average deck, so you would end up drawing more Leylines than an average deck, which is not great because you just don't want to do that. Alright, so as I said earlier, Living End is an extremely powerful, well, sort of combo deck right now. Being able to back up its 3 mana, virtually win the game, that requires a little bit, but not too much investment in the early turns of cycling. It can back up those 3 mana powerful plays with Grief and Force of Negation to just make sure that they resolve. It's a very powerful and very hard to attack with conventional means strategy. What Living End struggles the most against is a concentrated amount of hate cards, especially if those hate cards come in different shapes and forms. Decks that sideboard cards like Lavinia, play Teferi, Time Raveler, sideboard like 1 or 2 copies of Chalice of the Void, have some graveyard hate on top of that. Those are the nightmarish matchups to deal with, where they just attack you from very many angles, and not only playing against those hate cards, but also sideboarding versus those hate cards is going to be hard for the Living End player. Alright, so without further interruption, let's move towards the games. On the play again against Xerg. Last seen deck 5 days ago, Yawgmoth. I guess keep Xerg as a Yawgmoth Gamer Max. When main deck Endurance. Let's not have it in his opening hand. I grief turn 1 against Yawgmoth? Maybe? Probably not. I really want to grief a creature. Plays Amulet sometimes too, yeah, but today is not sometimes. Today is the day. Oof. Dodge the bullet. Grease the Hunger Tide. Grease can mill creatures, but it also can mill Overgrown Tomb, which is fine. Destroy land, I guess. Nice. I think I'd rather check myself than opponent. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. 12 damage. Get +4, 16. Doesn't really matter to pump them. He raps about censored. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Doesn't seem like there's a point in hitting Grace, really. What's it like with the flyer? You can +1/+0. Let's see flyer chump blocks. This is actually quite easy way to deal with greased. Kill the wall, kill greased this way. It's a scry. So you have 2 lands on top, so you don't. And if a Yawgmoth gets summoned here, I don't know. I think it's fine. But I probably am in a range where I don't want to living in anymore too much because it's really problematic. Greased wall bob in the graveyard. Okay, cracking this is pretty good for me. I can't speak. Well, can you speak, chat? Those living in bring back greased. Well, why wouldn't it? It's a creature. Legendary creature planeswalker greased insect. 1/1 free loyalty, funny. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tatooine. Bounce wall. Block. So Yawgmoth deck tier 1. No, I'm not dead to a highest if I bounce the wolf. Yawgmoth deck is tier, I don't know, slightly. It's tier. It's a deck. Also, I'm never dead to a haster of Fallen Outburst. This game has too much combat in it. What the hell? This is actually pretty weird champ. 4, 5. It's almost dying here to stuff. Go to 1. Point summon, so they draw another blocker and stuff. I know. Then I'll need to flip the boards. When sounds Blood Artist. Well, Blood Artist would be fine. Well, it wouldn't, but it would be fine. 4, 5, 6. Alright, Violent Outburst for combat kill again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Damn, 3 mana +1/+0 for my creatures is so good. Yeah, double Violent Outburst they trigger in one game, just pow. So yeah, for sure, Endurances, Leilinas, Satellites. That's what I did the last time. -1 living endos. -3 big forces. Got the river winders, I guess. Did I board this way exactly or did I board slightly differently? I don't remember. Flyer. Why cut the river snakes? Well, I've got to get something. It seems like the weaker cycler to me. Hexproof doesn't matter and unblockable on other guys is pretty powerful. They play swarms, so the rest there is pretty pog. This seems like a keepable hand. Against Yawgmoth they can have Necropotentia, Gurist, Harapatra. Alright, let's discard the Gurist, I guess. Guess it's gonna mill more creatures. Even when Living End was played with no interaction for less than 3 mana for a Grief to Summon, or Grief to Summon 4/4 with a downside, yeah. Well, sometimes you win Simian Spirit Guide into mill the Simian Spirit Guide into Fulminator Mage. Interesting keep, yeah, it's kind of a stinky hand. You have the Whale and the Grief and the Agent versus Greased. Probably gonna be able to beat it, yeah. Maybe gonna get an extra creature. Opponent drawn Yawgmoth, it's a little bit Monka-S. It's 7 possible for top 8, it's possible but unlikely. They put a counter on Hapatra to make a snake. Very curious. Is it some Court of Calling trickery? What's the X? X2? More like XD. What do you get for 2? 2? That's gonna be, I'm scared. Scavenging ooze. Alright, it's not even that bad. I'm just gonna... What? Scavenging fucking ooze? Oh no! Leave my whale alone. Things worth. Be able to kill Grease. We can check their top cards, they draw some shit. No non-land cards. Necromancia. So Necromancia is not castable. So you let my opponent draw Necromancia and you put what? Endurance on top then. So the Grease meals it. If it's activated. Hey, they can cast it with birds. It doesn't really matter anymore. I don't want to be living ending anyways. I don't think I think the endurance is kinda more problematic. We let them draw Ignoble Hierarch. Well, endurance and... Well, but Necromancer is kind of a bad draw right now. I'm just gonna be casting the monster. I'm just gonna cast the Curator. Is there any reason not to give them Ignoble? Well, if Necromancer is a worse card, then that's the reason. Get minus Grace too. That's tricky. The minus Grace is kinda bad. No way they minus Grace if we give them Necromancer. Why? Necron top they will guarantee +1 on Grease. Yeah, I guess. That's really true. You give them the shit Noble. They draw Necromancer later. Well, the Necromancer, I'm not gonna be casting Living It anyway. What would you do? You have Perfect Info. Well, but I won't have the Perfect Info about my top deck. Draw Necromancer, and like, I can Necromancer the Living Ends and kill, because then I kinda want to kill. I just put the Endurance somewhere else. They draw the Ignoble, they would probably plus, right? Play Ignoble, would you minus? No, you wouldn't. Would you? Like, the Necromancer is only any relevant if they kill my creature here. Wait, I also have a 2/2, so I can just kill the Grease next turn. I just forgot that I'm gonna have this and play 2. So I play this, Necromancer, and minuses or whatever. In minus I kill my thing, I kill the Grease. If they plus and cast this, I kill the Grease. Yeah. Top, top, top. That's obvious then. I forgot that I'm gonna have the 2/2 here. So the question then. Although if my opponent goes Necromancer, Curator of Mysteries, kinda weird. I like that the mana was untapped, I guess. Yeah, you get a 2/2 for that, but the 2/2 is small versus Endurance. Then the 4/4 Curator is kinda crucial versus Endurance if the Endurance is and ends up being drawn. Your name Subtlety then? Could be. Shows you how strong of a card Necromancer is. Where the name Kanister come from? I don't know. From Magic Online. I don't have a source story for it. It does mean the same thing in Polish as it does in other languages. Living Ends, sure. Living Ends and what? Minus. Okay, so Grief dies, we attack for 2 on Greased. Free face. We sound a 4/4 which is gonna attack through Endurance. We have 2 attacks for free at least. Let's find another card that we can cast. Well, I'm known for my exquisite timing. Oh, they themselves. That makes sense, I guess. They play Urborg, they do, yeah. Well, my previous Yawgmoth opponent did. Now I can rely on them drawing an Urborg again. Attack with all. Play Agent. Well, post-combat. I cascade 41 cards revealed and put back randomly on the bottom of my deck. Can play the whale if we draw the whale. I can draw what? Yawgmoth doesn't do much. Yeah, one's concealed from the gamma. So 7-2 with Living End, very solid score. Are you going to top 8? Probably not. Yawgmoth seems to be very weak, just generally speaking. Seems maybe not the best suited at defeating Living End. Top 8 was a clean 8-1 card. Let's check. Raz, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seems like 7, 8 ones to me. Rewarded it again for 4 times living end. It's quite possible I will get rewarded for it, and I did not get punished for it this game, right? So if I draw under grief, I guess I'll just use one. Wrong fetch to play. Watch him spreading seize my land. We're going to play our super rhinos this turn, chat. Once again, I should have played a land because that's kind of poor against iteration. Take the Raveler. Special summon 4 monsters from my graveyard. Stack his deck, so it's bad. Right, can drop Prismatic Ending. You're gonna take, actually, I don't know, Iteration. So he draws the Prismatic Ending, then it has to, like, this cycle this into the fairy. It really doesn't matter. But maybe you should take Heat, TBH. But it's fine too. Can, like, I know his top cards, he can win. Chad, I don't know if he's playing relics or not. I went on Twitter to perform the acceptable amount of scouting on him. But since we don't know, we're gonna cut the creature bouncers, and we're gonna cut the architects because of the anti-synergy. Nice reasoning. Well, I think it is a good reasoning. Yeah, probably can keep this. Once again rewarded by a living in my hand. Yorion to RG? No, this is a spell. No nie, no relika ma chłopie. Not nice. But I guess now we know he's playing relics. Alright, we can exile my sneaker winder. Ha, checkmate. I'm gonna keep my thing. It really doesn't matter. It's actually bad to do so, but so we're looking to what, Otawara the relic? I guess. How did Pioneer go? I went 0-2 when I dropped. So one could say it did not go excellently. Damn, I love me some Winota question mark, just bad luck. Whether it was just bad luck or bad fortune and also some other factors, it is hard to tell. But yeah. I win just one. Played against Monored was tough. Didn't draw well. Played against Lotus. Didn't draw well enough and died. Yeah, also banned Johnson for 24 hours after he showed up and said 0-2 with Winota. I'm not surprised. And I said, Johnstar, I got enough of you. That's gonna be your first message for the day. I want the land number 4, so I'm gonna grab Fast Land. Why is it called a fast land if it's so damn slow? Just a 24-hour band. I'm not surprised, yeah. Could just cast an end of turn outburst TBH. I get the Wake Air. I mean, it's kinda weak. Maybe that, I don't know if that's even gonna prompt a relic TBH. Well, that was my favorite commander, so I would love to build the Pioneer deck. LOL. Lamau. Oh, I didn't cast because I didn't click. That's easier than Otawara. It's actually much better. Kinda, sort of. At the Veil bar. Get it? Veil of Summer bar. Why have this on the battlefield? Isn't it better the other way around? Deadliest day on the US was Tyrannosaur Oryx dead. True. Is it Solitude summoning? In case of a Solitude, should I cast Subtlety for 4? Maybe just cast it for 3 TBH. Although I don't know what he's doing, he's fetching. Some trickery happening. What? Is he looking for a white card? Come on, let's go white card. This gap trolling. He's doing some stuff, yeah, for sure. I think he assaulted and looking for a white card. Let's do Subtlety into Outburst, I think. It's not super, but he cannot actually cast it. He doesn't have the mana. Pitch Yorion too. I got free freeze versus no board, which and another Outburst in hand. Subtlety 5 woke canisters. I mean, looks pretty great to me here. Unfortunately, we don't get to counter this thing again. If he had a counter spell, would he really tapped out like this though? Out of the counter spell? Or can I greed out and upkeep grief? I know that force works, but like if he has a force and I would rather cast it on my turn still. The question is counter spell. If you like, would he tap out of the counter spell? Whoops. Maybe he cycled to counter spell, maybe he did. Yeah, just do it now. It's probably way too tricky to wait till this upkeep. Like that. Cast it upkeep then in your turn. Yeah, I could do that, but also like, I don't know, I just have lethal right now with the outburst, so he needs to do something. Iteration, so he has a Solitude in hand because he kept it on top. Yeah, he doesn't have a second white, so he cannot just cast a Subtlety. Solitude, excuse me. Subtlety is based in Living End. That's very true, Bumsing. It's a great card in the deck. I've got 4 cards. It has Memory Deluge. All that, I guess we're gonna force him to spend. We can just cast Violent Outburst for damage. Some lists play less than 4 and I don't get it. Well, I play 4. I play 3 myself. My Living End opponent also had 1 Manic Endurance. Yeah, it's not terrible, it's like generically useful. I'm gonna cast it, we don't have lethal, he has a white card. But I don't think I'm going to want to Living End again. So he can of course Subtlety, but forces him to spend a Nomnath. Which is great for me. Deal 6, or rather, well, 8, and, you know, puts him in a hard spot next to him, sort of. I've been practicing. Oh, 1 mana, 13. Casting the Sock Zan, weird. Fury, damn. Pretty big, huh? Alright, you win. Now game 3 on the play. I'm not sure if as Focal I even care to play 4 Living Ends, but I have those. Foundation Breaker? No, I don't think so. I put the Ingot Chewers in the sideboard specifically for those people with Relic but no enchantments, just cost 1 mana. I don't want an efficient answer, I want the efficient answers. 1 mana and a 3/3 instead of a 2 mana and a 2/2. Keep. With Dispute and Subtlety, I guess I'll cycle turn 1. Maybe cycle into a red-green land with this. Red-green, so that if Relic, we have time to draw Ingot Chewer. My Bob the Dog opponent timed out on turn 3. What? If you draw a black card for Grief, we're gonna Grief turn 1 too. Let's use Relic. F question mark. What? Didn't see /ear your thoughts on would the new computer system resume on your thoughts? Pretty base changes. Pretty base that the Pro Tour is coming back. I'll try to participate in it, even though we'll see how it's gonna go as far as earning monies. Very subtlety this. There's so much mana for him. How we can meet some nice on a GP even if it's Pioneer, yeah, hopefully. Going to draw a land number 3 and a cascade and a black card. So we have land number 3. Black card. Black card, no black card. No relic, please. I said no relic, bro. What the hell? Czegoś ty nie zrozumiał z tego. No relic, bro. Oh, now we got a force of negotiation, so we could negotiate with the relic, but it's not good. 80 cards, by the way, yeah. Literally no way to draw a card in an 80 card deck, but he did. I want to force this, so he has worse bad mana. Well, counterspell or plop the relic. Split and force the relic, it's okay. Of course, like the fairy gonna be bad, but you did play an island. No, don't play the fairy. No, don't play the fairy. No, bro, no. Let's play Ren, not the fairy. No! Blue. Tank the fairy. I mean, that force maybe was a bit loose. Like, I get the fairy here. Okay, well, we can do that. That's fine. Well, not super fine, but it's fine. Could have been worse. Yeah, play your Ren, sure, bro. Do it now, I think. Just can pay for stuff soon. Needs an Omnath comes back. Why now? Well, if he has like... Yeah, I guess I could... Well, if he has Veils. He has Veils. Unless he always have double islands before casting Omnath. Because I forced his growth, abundant growth. How do I feel about the Tameshi Bloom combo deck? Not playable. I already won't take them. I say the Ice Fang, we're not gonna counter the Omnath. No point. We need a red mana though, still. And my graveyard is only Waker, Street Raid, Grief. It's not the best. Because of the stupid relic. 80 cards, by the way. Relic of Progenitus. Do I have a semi-current lantern list? Not really. Oh, can't counter Omnath? Well, I can, but I don't want to. It works. I guess I'll do it. I don't really have a semi-current lateral list. No more living end value after that. Well, intending to finish the game soon. Dispute useful against Yorion cast or something. Ice Fang is a 0-1 death touch, so we can just attack through it. We attack for what, 7, 8, yeah. Planes. Relic, nice bro. Relic might actually be kinda good for me, TBH. He cracks it. Yeah. I think attacking face is better than attacking Ren, for sure, yeah. Should I have attacked with everybody? Probably not. I think the outburst might actually be a bit useful still. Just keep the mana for the dispute fully, so if you want to dispute something expensive, something well like a Solitude hardcast, I would definitely dispute that, and undisputably. Maybe he cracks the relic to look for cards. If he's got nothing, and then my living ends actually, you know, if he deals with my board is actually still relevant, and we still have how many living ends in the deck? 1, 2, because I didn't board out any. Nice. It's probably preparing to cast a Tereferi. Should have maybe crack the relic of the mountain. Wouldn't that have been better? Red mana, unholy heat. Sure. Cycling Ketria Triumph. Whoa, I thought he's gonna do something. I for sure go hard, yeah. Thank you for the encouragement. This is Blood's Elemental loses field, probably the player I played against. So even if I have Force and Dispute, even if he has Solitude, so probably worth casting. Violent Outburst. Like Young Pyro on sideboard. Yeah, I didn't love it. Seemed fine, but not super. And a low scale, small scale. Look, chat, that's my dog. Just laying down. Good grief. Playing as Thalai, the World Master. One day, I guess. One time he was a World Master, and now he's just a pioneer modern preliminary gamer. Is there a second grief? Do I activate one? I think I do. Oh shit. Okay, I have found a cascade, so I win. Yeah, with Force and grief we do win for sure, I guess. So nimble. Cycle the Whale. And maybe in case of like the Fairy Spell Pierce in hand, I would like to grief. Oh, shucks. Let's take another Outburst. Alright, need to hit the land next turn. Oh no, stripped River Winder. I have to be careful because land might kinda sound like Living End to Magic Online. It's my only blue card. That's fine. Other griefers. Fuck. Can you ask him about DLC in the mirror? No, I can't. I'd go ask like your questions yourself. So if you just place the Murktide Regents, that's tough. I don't draw the land. Let's go. Kurwa no. How pathetic. Not so good. World champs are hard, yeah, for sure. A championshiply manner to fail to draw lands. UR Architects combo. So Leyline. Oh no, the turtle. I saw the turtle actually. I don't know, it's big. Can bounce Murktide Regent in a spot or two. Architect of Will, if you cycle it, it's a non-bow, I think, or sure, but you just keep it in your hand to pitch anyways all the time. Let's see if the Leyline does anything. Never cut whales. Sometimes I do cut whales, but not here. I should keep the fetch because Bloodborne. I think he's gonna have a Ragavan turn 1. Whoa, no Ragavan. It's only a sky turtle enough. I can't even discard it. But with Leyline should not be partly beatable. Sure. That's down. Grab a fetch though. Let's grab the fetch land back. I cast Sky Turtle. I want to draw the island, so I'll fetch the island. End of turn island fetching. It doesn't seem good to play now though. Yeah, maybe 5 mana free is good, yeah. Actually, you're right. Let's use Fluster, didn't tap down whatsoever. I cast an Ingot Chewer. Draw 2, no respect. No, it's no Hill Giant. It's 5 mana. What are we gonna do? Shock it? We're on Holy Heat. Bad Giganta. No, it's actually a card in my deck, it's not a companion. Right, so it's like not close to Giganta. I actually put this in my deck, willingly. Sideboarded it even. Relic Progenitus. I think forcing this is useful. Weird Charm I had the Ingot Chewer. Alright, this is all coming wrong. Just need to draw 4 Curators in a row and... No, actually, I want to draw Cycler, Cascades. Well, I am down on Cyclers in this sideboard plan, I guess. We're very dead, kinda. Yeah, throwing that game 1 was not something I could have afforded to do. Or throwing, like dropping it to not hitting the land drop. And he has 2 dress downs in the sideboard and a sideboarded game, so I don't know if his deck actually is much tools. I mean, I win the race, right? This is interesting. In a turn, I can just cast it. Well, in a turn, if I draw a land, obviously. This fucking game. It is the relic, so this was actually pretty good, but... Sockens and Bruiser. Wow, this card. Yeah. He draws perfect, so... Gonna draw something finally. Isn't Thalai Javier Dominguez? Well, has anyone claimed that he's not? Isn't Kanister Piotr Głogowski? Isn't? Is? Question mark. Kanister, come to Brazil. Sure. A good school, but is there a reason to? We can just hardcast stuff. Maybe his last land. Fails to find land. Yeah. 7 mana free flyer. Trigger it? Question mark. Very good question. Yeah. All right. Now I draw a cycler into Cascade. Well, that was short-lived. Alright, now I'm gonna die. I imagine him not having more. Alright, that is all for today, gameplay-wise. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment, like or subscribe. This is going to help my channel immensely. And if you would like for me to focus on some other modern decks or maybe Pioneer decks, play with them for a little bit, try to understand them a little bit better and post a video of the deck in the future, leave a comment below with what archetypes would you like for me to cover.